Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Thanks for tuning to it. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live. Via the streaming free always. If you miss portions of the show, always remember we post all 3 hours upon the conclusion right there on iTunes. Go find it, rate, review. It helps others find the program. You can also go to our website, ESPNTallahassee.com, and find it in the archived audio. If you want to email the program, feel free, jcs at 979ESPNradio.com. Yes, I've seen the Python story. I know about the man who tried to use the bathroom only to have a python slither out from the toilet and bite him.
That happened again?
Naples, Florida.
Ooh. A domestic version.
Yeah. Man. Now, luckily, from what I can tell, he hadn't taken a seat, for lack of a better term. He had lifted the thing and was preparing himself when it leapt onto his arm.
Well, he wants a
right
python to the perineum, so I'm glad he didn't take a seat.
Oh, man, nicely played. Yeah, that ain't good. Oh, what are we doing? There have been a lot of snake incidents lately. That guy went to ring the doorbell at his uncle's house. Right on the forehead. What in the world, man? I'm just ringing a doorbell.
I just want to check on Uncle Pete, man.
Yeah. I'm telling you, that's the thing. You know, you always, when you read these stories of unlucky ways to go, you think in your life you're careful, you're observant, you look all around. You know, I've told you before, when you have kids, you get reacquainted with instincts and your ability to see 3 and 4 and 5 moves into the future. And it's really cool if you're paying attention. Like, because obviously little kids rely on you for everything, their own survival, obviously. So little things like just going to the grocery store, you're in a Publix, you're just walking with your 2-year-old or something. You know they can't watch the traffic. You got to watch it for them. But you are going about the process of a series of predictions. And you're right every time. It's amazing. Evolution's crazy. That's why we survive. Squirrels, not so much, right? They'll eventually be, well, they've survived, but that has to do with sheer numbers. Anyhow, the point would be you're going across, you kind of like, that guy doesn't know I'm standing here. He's going to back out without looking. She's driving way too fast for a parking lot. This guy here really wants the space, and he's obsessed with focusing on that space and not my 2-year-old, so I'm going to pick him up, put him on my left arm. This guy here, you know, all that, it's happening at all times. It's crazy.
I know exactly of which you speak just from doing some babysitting stuff, but I believe the exhaustive nature is the truly remarkable thing for parents, is like you have to do that every day. I do it for like 6 hours, you know, and then that's it. I go home. I go back to the hotel room. I do whatever, and that's it. Yeah. But you got to do it day in and day out for years, and what that does to your brain. Maybe that's why Friday nights sometimes, you know, for parents, the happy hour is a good
begins.
hour.
It's a very good hour. Yeah, I think that's fair. By the way it's set up for today, a little bit different schedule. You get an hour here of the Jeff Cameron Show, followed by 2 hours of Seminole Headlines, followed by an hour of Front Row Knowles. So buckle up. You are good to go. The next 4 hours should be you listening to this station, if not more. And if you're a Braves fan, it will be more because after Front Row Knowles, you get the Braves. So basically 7-8 hours straight of listening to 97.9 ESPN Radio because we bring it like that. That's the kind of fun and games we have around here.
That's right. Cardinals baseball coming up after Front Row Knowles.
I'll go Braves. Let's go Braves. Let's get a big win.
So I looked it up.
Braves.
I looked it up, the probables, because yesterday was bugging me, and you're rooting for the Phillies forevermore.
Well,
because
against sorry ass, yes.
Every week in May, the midweek series was against a team from the Central. The NL Central.
I need the Phillies to be beating up on these teams from the Central, not name the Pirates.
And then they also played a weekend series with the Brewers, so it was like NL Central month for the Phillies.
Central month back in the day, yeah. But you know, I don't know why. And as a kid, and maybe it was just because it felt like it was a far off, hard to reach, foreign mystery. But Milwaukee, I always like. Robin Yount and those guys, like I always liked the Brewers. As a Pirates fan, I don't know why, but I did. I liked the Brewers. And then I went to Milwaukee, and I was like, oh, this is not exotic at all. This sucks. It's Milwaukee. Why would you live here?
I've heard mixed reviews on Milwaukee.
It's whatever. It's all right. There are great spots to every city I make fun of, and people from those cities immediately puff their chest and go, oh, hold on.
Well, it would be like the grown-up version of Madison, right? Shouldn't it be?
No, Madison's charming. Madison is almost like the Palo Alto of the Midwest. And
Oh,
Madison
my.
is awesome. Madison's got real charm. I would never live there, but it's got real charm. No, it's great. But it's just funny.
Maybe we can find out next year when we do the excursion for
We're doing several excursions.
the Ryder
next year.
Cup
Oh, yeah.
at Whistling Straits.
Good times. We got a lot of travel plans in the very near future. Not Athens this weekend, but perhaps Baton Rouge the following weekend.
Mm-hmm.
You've got. I know you've put this in marker by now on your calendar. We're going to that Virginia game on the road together, buddy. We're going to that game. You got to go do the blinding beauty of Charlottesville, Virginia. Don't fight me on this. Let's go.
We do tough talk in the summer, but then the actual travel is.
That's why I'm reiterating. Do not do that to me. We're going to Charlottesville, Virginia, and we're going to have a great time. When you get home tonight, you say, Jamie, I forgot to put this on the calendar. I'm going with Jeff to Charlottesville, Virginia in week 3. She's welcome to come too. But either way, you're going. So write it down with your pen. Let's go. We're going.
We're going to go to Jacksonville for Boise.
Well, that's a 2-hour drive. Of course we're going over there.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We got
Madison
the unlimited
Social's
drink tickets with Madison Social.
Man, we're all set. They've got the place you want to go. Yeah, man, you got to. It's the Madison Social.
If they're going to put us up like that, sure they're going to give us some hammocks.
I don't know about hammocks, but I do know this, that they wanted us to broadcast from there too. So, let's make it happen. I think it's going to happen. I'm excited about it.
I booked Sky Blue Sky for January.
Did you?
Yeah. The Mexico Wilco trip.
Yeah.
I did it.
You actually booked it?
Pulled the trigger. Mm-hmm.
It's going to be pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I'm actually proud of you. That's a pretty amazing deal. Did you really do that?
Yeah, I really did it.
You weren't just kicking it around.
No, I was not. I was serious.
I really would not have guessed you were going to do it.
We ran the numbers on it, and we can get a cheap flight out to Cancun, and with points and stuff. But then we got a villa with a terrace and a jacuzzi and a big deck, and you're overlooking the water.
Doing some things.
Yeah, and if you do the numbers on the all-inclusive with all the food, the beverages, the activities, and the concert, it actually is quite cost-effective.
I know what the deal is. Yeah, that's good. No, you're going to be good. Well, sidebar, but well done. I'm proud of you right there. And I'll see you in Charlottesville in week 3 at the Florida State, Virginia game.
We will not be sharing a terrace with a jacuzzi on the second floor.
Not at all. But we will be walking the beautiful campus there at Virginia. We'll go over to the law school together. We will, because you'll like that tour. It's actually awesome. We'll watch that win on the road.
I mean, it's a law school. There's a lot of books.
Oh, no, it's awesome. You're going to love it. It's an historic law school. It's an amazing law school. Some of those books that they have are absolutely it's mind-numbing how old some of the material there is and how important some of it is. It's really, really good. You'd like it. Man, listen, you've heard all about it. The Blinding Beauty
I've heard all about it, so I feel like,
you got to do it.
I'm good.
And then in addition to that, we've got the possibility of taking it on the road against BC this year. We've got so many options, Tom.
Jesus.
So many games.
Forever traveling.
Well, our comeback season is going to be marked by our presence on the road. We will be able to say, and I was there.
You know what I was thankful of when I saw the schedule come out? This is a year with 2 bye weeks. That's where I've gotten to. I'm like, good. We need the 2 bye weeks.
Well, you actually have several bye weeks. You have ULM, which is the opener that nobody's going to come to. You've got
but we'll do a freaking bang-up job with the pregame show.
Our pregame show will be fantastic because it will be documenting the big win over Boise State the week previous. But in addition, you've got the Alabama State game, which is a game nobody will go to either. So you got lots of opportunities in addition to the 2 bye weeks. You got 4 bye weeks this year, basically, where you can take it anywhere you want to go, find any game you want to go to. You sure don't need to go over to Doak Campbell Stadium for ULM and Alabama State. Now, they cringe to hear that, especially at a time where the money is not just in abundance. And
they need your help, much like they helped you when they were really good and winning 29 straight.
Yeah, they couldn't wait to.
And if you needed a leg up, they reached out and they grabbed your leg and they said, come on, we're coming this way.
Actually, this brings me to kind of a preview of Seminole headlines today. And in all fairness to the new AD, David Coburn, whom I've not had the good fortune of speaking to yet, and I plan on doing so. I don't want to make your job any more difficult than it already is, good sir. I mean, there's a lot of tongue-in-cheek that goes on in the Jeff Cameron show, but let's admit it, a big part of what you have to do is, A, get this football team winning so that we can make more money, and also enticing people to go to games with a better home schedule. And you've already begun that process, which I'm proud of, right off the bat. That was a nice home and home with Georgia. Let's keep on keeping on. Let's add to the goodness. Let's see us taking on Tejas, home and home. I'm in. Let's make it happen. Let's do a home and home with, I don't know, pick another school that you want in the South. LSU, I'm good with that. Home and home. No, not New Orleans, which I love. Home and home. Let's do all of that, right?
If I was Director Coburn, what I'd do is I'd buy season tickets myself to show
I think
solidarity.
he probably has, yeah.
Right, but no, actually out in the sun.
Oh, Jesus.
Out in the sun and sit with the people and say, you know what?
At the ULM game.
It's actually kind of beautiful when there's a breeze. It gets it down to 95. And then there you go. You set the example.
It's a tough day at the office, my friend.
It's not too good for me to buy these season tickets in the sun. It's okay.
We get into this subject not on the Jeff Cameron Show because I want to talk about a former kicker of ours in a moment. Interesting story that came out today about Roberto Aguayo. But we do get into the FSU finances and all that goodness on some of the headlines. We get into the search for the next baseball coach, the upcoming regional in Athens. We get into all of that, plus headliner questions, which is really good. That'll be coming up at 4. Then at 6 o'clock, Front Row Knowles. I don't know what are those guys doing. What's on the sheet today? What are we doing in Front Row Knowles there? I'm sure talking all kinds of goodness. Football,
I don't have
basketball,
the rundown
baseball.
over here. Usually Director Matthew, who directs that show, leaves the sheet around.
This time around, he said, screw you, not
I think
doing
he got
it.
so mad at the rundown that he must have balled it
All
up
right,
and
so
thrown
anyhow,
it
Front
into
Row
the wall.
Knowles, which is always good. They always have good guests. I'm sure they will here. That show comes up afterwards, followed by Atlanta Braves baseball. Before I head to break, I should mention that Centrale Township, Madison Social, happy day. It's Food Special Wednesday. I almost butchered the name of it, but I didn't want to do that. It's Food Special Wednesday. They've got Fat Finger Pizza and cereal milk pancakes. Today only. You can experience one or both if you're up to it. You get all day. You can experience the pancake preview of June's Stack of the Month, which looks to me from a distance here to be pancakes, which in and of themselves are delicious, with Fruity Pebbles on them. I like Fruity Pebbles. That's not your cup of tea.
No, but that's interesting.
And then also the Fat Finger Pizza and Peruvian sauce pizza is going on tonight.
Peruvian sauce?
Yeah, Peruvian sauce. Look at this pizza. I'm going to hold it up. Look how good that looks.
I'm in on
Looks
that.
delicious, everybody.
Yeah, I might not do the Fruity Pebbles
Well, you don't have
pancakes.
to, but you will eat the pizza. I know how you are. You love the pizza.
Little Cocoa Pebbles pancakes, I'm in.
Okay. Maybe we'll ask them for something more special, just like at the tailgate
Just like
for us.
maybe Cocoa Pebbles pancakes and unlimited
and
drink
unlimited
tickets.
drinks after we do the pregame show against Boise State from the Madison Social tailgate site. Yes.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men on a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
To you, 2018 Jeep Renegade Latitude, starting at $18,870. Payments as low as $299 a month. On the corner of West Tennessee and Capitol Circle, where we're right on the corner and always right on the price. Check us out on the web at TallahasseeDCJ.com. All prices include rebates and incentives plus tax, title, and dealer fees. State number 18J605. Must finance through Chrysler Capital and qualify for all rebates and incentives.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Hi, Chris Kraft for the all-new Infinity of Tallahassee, the newest Kraft Brothers dealership. As we get ready to break ground on the new Kraft Infinity store, Peter and I thought, why not have a founding 50 with lots of cool stuff for 50 special buyers? And when we say special benefits, we mean it. Here's just some of what you'll get. Free lifetime oil changes, free lifetime powertrain warranty, and free gas fill-up with factory-scheduled maintenance. I told you this was special, and there's more. Free car wash and loaner cars, a gold license plate frame, and a commemorative brick at our new store. Plus, my favorite, the white glove treatment with front-of-the-line service priority. It's Tallahassee's first truly VIP car buying and servicing experience. So if you're in the market for a luxury vehicle, you need to look at Infinity of Tallahassee. Seriously, no haggle pricing, and every time you come in for factory-scheduled maintenance, we change your oil for free, wash your car, and even fill it up with gas. It's Infinity of Tallahassee's founding 50, so prepare to be pampered. Infinity of Tallahassee, 3355 Capitol Circle Northeast, next to Ted's Montana Grill.
Yuengling Golden Pilsner, a highly sessionable beer, golden in both name and color. Yuengling Golden Pilsner is the perfect balance of hop and malt character for crisp and smooth thirst-quenching refreshment. Cheer for your garnet and gold with Yuengling Golden Pilsner. Yuengling, brewing good times for 190 years. Must be 21 or older. Please drink responsibly. A message from local beverage distributor Triangle Sales.
Hardee's used to think bowls were useless dishware. Then we created the new Loaded Hash Round Bowl. Crispy potatoes, fluffy eggs, sausage gravy, melted cheddar, and crumbled bacon. Now part of our 2 for $4 mix and match deal. No longer are bowls just college football games you can nap to. Now they're loaded with Hardee's delicious breakfast favorites and in our 2 for $4 mix and match. Try a bowl today. They're actually really useful. Hardee's, because it tastes better.
Available for a limited time during regular breakfast hours at participating restaurants. Tax not included. Price and participation may vary.
Today, business happens here, and virtually anywhere. Because today, innovative companies are reinventing the way business happens, and they need people who can keep up. With the expertise and technology to get packages to over 150 million delivery points. So, who can help you deliver the future of commerce? The United States Postal Service. See why we deliver more e-commerce packages to homes than anyone at USPS.com/future.
You're listening to The Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Bleacher Report wrote an article on Roberto Aguayo and his struggles and efforts to get back into the league. Many of you sent it to me, knowing the conversation centered around Roberto Aguayo and his time in Tampa Bay and here at Florida State. It's called Roberto Aguayo versus the Yips. And figured an article like this would be coming out soon enough. You can read the vast majority of it for yourself, but I think some interesting passages from it deserve our attention today. And I start with this. I hearken back to media days and a question and conversation I had with Roberto Aguayo about his miss against Wake Forest and his subsequent run of made kicks. And if you recall, and I know you do, Tom, when I asked him that, he said, yeah, he talked about something to do with the win and he overcompensated or whatever it was. And then he said, I don't think I'll ever miss it. Something to the effect of, I don't think I'll ever miss a kick again. And I remember kind of being struck by not just the bravado and the confidence, but just the assurance with which he said that. He believed it. It was interesting. I mean, he believed it. Yes, that's arrogant, I suppose, but given that I didn't want him to miss a kick ever again, I didn't care, and I thought it was fascinating. Also spoke to youth, right? I mean, no perspective to say you'll never miss another kick.
I do remember celebrating when he missed the kick at Wake Forest because we were at a watch party, and we said, good, get it out of the way now in a meaningless football game.
Because he hadn't missed all year, and he was interesting. I took it a couple different ways. One, man, is he incredibly confident, and I think like a golf swing and like a kicker, and I've talked to many kickers that have come through here, whether it be Onions or Roberto Aguayo, any number of others, about a kick and the motion of the kick and the body weight shift and all of those things being eerily similar to a golf swing and having certain mechanics to it. And do they look at it that way? most of them have said yes. Most of them have said to a varying degree, yes. It is very similar. Almost all of them, to a kicker that I have spoken to, are also avid golfers. They all love to golf. The trigger, everything about it, they'll talk about weight shift and distribution and all that stuff. They find it, I don't know, relaxing, similar, interesting, and the need to find the ability to repeat it over and over and over and over again, to the extent that hitting different kinds of kicks is a lot like hitting different kinds of shots in golf, where your swing is still your swing, but you are achieving something. You're set out to achieve something different from 30 yards as opposed to 180 yards, right, in a golf swing. Same with a kick. Chip shot, field goal, your swing's still a swing. You're not going to completely switch up your mechanics, but because you're trying to achieve something much less difficult than, say, a 50-yard field goal, you don't make it as you're not going back as far, if you will, and that kind of stuff. And so in this article, when he's talking about trying to get back into the league and how he's a different person now and how frustrated he was, how devastating it was, yes, the requisite staring at the wall, crying stuff is all in the article, as you can imagine. He tries to make a comeback this year. He's looking to overcome the struggles. He says, quote, "I know I can get back." He said he thinks that he absolutely can. But it's fascinating here when he began to talk about, in this article, in 2016, he's with the Bucs. He's huddled with his new Tampa Bay teammates for a meeting. The coaching staff discussed things the Bucs need to improve from last season. Kicking was one of those. And one of the players in the room shouted, "We don't have that problem anymore," and pointed to Aguayo. "We got him," is what he said. And Aguayo immediately thought, whoa. And then further thought, does this mean I can't ever miss? Am I expected to be perfect, a robot? And he'd begun to feel the pressure that came with being drafted as high as he was. And remember we talked about that? Remember we said, man, there's a real pressure you put on a guy when you draft a kicker that high. But also, it brings up his concerns after his final season at Florida State.
You're damn right.
Where he made most of his kicks, certainly anything inside of 40 yards. In fact, he never missed a kick from closer than 40 yards during his time at FSU. And people would point to that. But you and I'm going to pat us on the back here, said, he didn't look right. Something's not right. Those kicks are going through, but they're all close. A lot of close kicks. A lot of kicks that scraped the, post. There were things that made you think the accuracy is waning. The results are still very good. Now, kicks from distance had not become nearly as automatic as they had been the previous season, and that was proven both statistically and visually. You could see that, right? We talked about that, and I worried about it because the Bucs drafted him, and I didn't think he was the same guy at the end of his career that he was in the perfect season, if you will, the near perfect season he had the year before. So I didn't know we were getting the best version of Roberto Aguayo when he made it to the league. That was my concern.
Yeah, if you'd flipped his career and his 2013 season was his final college season, I think you might have been more okay with the pick. Not that you would have been okay with it, but you would have been more okay with the pick.
More okay is an apt description, yes.
But, yeah, if you're looking at 40 to 50 yards, he was average. If you're looking 50-plus, I think he was slightly better than he was from 40 to 50. And if you think about most of the NFL kicks, they're around 43 to 47, something like that.
Those are the kicks that if you're a great kicker in the NFL, you make. You just make 47-yard field goals. You do that. We might give you some leeway on your statistical accuracy from 54. We'll give you a little wiggle room from year to year that if you miss a few of the long ones, all right. But you better make a 45-yarder with 5 minutes to play down 3. I need you to make that kick.
You need to make that like 8 out of 10.
Yeah. Like I need to roll your ass out there with a great certainty that barring a bad snap or terrible weather conditions, this is good, man.
No,
this is good.
And he wasn't a very likable player towards the end because he still had the same bravado, and I guess that might have been a facade given what this article is talking about. That, the doubt had crept in, but he was at least projecting all the confidence that he always did. But I'll always remember the 14-0 win over Boston College, and it was still a 7-0 football game before Jalen Ramsey took it to the house. This is up in Chestnut Hill.
We were there.
And we had a fourth down This was the Case and Beatty special. This was the debt reduction montage, all
that's
that
right.
stuff.
I forgot about that. That's right.
And he had missed a long field goal earlier in the game, and so we call a timeout, and it's 4th down, and Berto runs on the field, and Jimbo screams his ass off the field. This is during a TV timeout, but Berto wanted the kick. It might have been 48-51. It would have been a longer field goal, and Jimbo said, "The hell, get off my field."
Yeah.
The F is wrong with you. You could see the animated Jimbo come to life, and we decided to punt in that situation because he had no confidence in Berto to hit a long field goal.
He had no confidence. He didn't want to give BC field position because they couldn't move the ball past the 50. So his thought was, look, man, I don't, believe you're going to make this kick, or it's unlikely, and I'm not giving them field position when they can't cross the 50. So we're just going to trust our defense rather than trust you.
But it's at that point that you have more evidence than just, well, he looks a little shaky. It's that the coaches... Coach says, I'm tired of you. I've had enough of you. I don't believe in you. And that's an unbelievable turn of events for the kid that we had in the national championship year.
It reveals again here, quote, he'd begun to, well, first of all, let me read the prior sentence because I think this is fascinating. He had thrived with a swing that he made up in his childhood from playing both soccer and football, but he thought he scrunched down too much, relied on his groin too much. He wanted the ball to rotate end over end, and it was not. He felt his body was working harder than it needed to in order to hit a consistent ball flight. So despite all the success in college, he began to tweak his swing before his NFL rookie season. Small changes, preventive measures to prevent groin, back, hip injuries in the future, he thought. Quote, I compared it to the way Tiger Woods switched his swings, referring to the changes Tiger Woods made in 2004 despite having already won 8 major titles. Golf is Aguayo's other passion. He plays it, watches it, finds comfort in it. People were always saying to Tiger, you were really good. Why would you change your swing? But he wanted to make it better, and so did I. But instead of improving his kicking, the more immediate result was a lack of confidence. He felt a little off, but he couldn't be. He needed to be on every kick. He didn't want to admit to his coaches, to anyone, that he didn't have it down deep. So he hit the upright in his first preseason kick against the Eagles in 2016. Remember that, Tom?
Yeah, I do remember that.
Then the misses
Shaky
began
preseason.
to pile up. Yep. And he got to where he didn't trust it immediately. The doubts crept in. Quote, it's like, I can make this, but also I couldn't. I could miss it. That was quote, unquote. Well, we're done the second you say, but also I could miss it. Nobody's sitting on the tee box with confidence at the top of their game in the PGA going, I could pipe this down the fairway if I need to. I could also put it in the trees and throw up a double.
You know what I think would have changed his career, or at least brought it back to where it was in the beginning, was if the Georgia Tech end-of-game scenario did not happen the way it did and he made the kick. Because that's a block kick, but then it was a false start or whatever it was, delay a game something, before he actually was able to let it go. But we felt pretty good about the walk-off there. Just whatever the situation was. Obviously, the game was tied, too, so that helps. Yeah. It's like a Dustin Hopkins kick against Clemson. But I think if he makes that kick, it might have reset all of the doubts. Because a lot of the kicks he was making the second half of his career, it's a 3-year career, but the second half, a lot of them were red zone stalls. You know, like little 35-yard jobbers because we can't execute in the red zone. Especially that 2015 team was awful in the red zone. So he had a lot of chip shots. But if he could have made a long, meaningful kick that 2015 season to walk off against Georgia Tech, I think the confidence might have been righted to a place where he's not going to tinker and he might not be thinking as much.
Perhaps you're right. I don't know, and I don't know that we'll ever know. It's interesting. Dustin Hopkins is quoted in this article, and so is Tim Brewster and other former Seminoles coaches and players, saying that they remember the guy that was so in the zone. He didn't miss kicks in practice either, that he just made everything, and it got to be almost comical. Like they started fooling around with kicks just because, you know, it's like when you're really feeling it on the golf course and you feel you can hit a draw, you can hit a fade, you can hit everything you need to hit. Guys like that in that mode, you just don't doubt it. You go out and do it, right? And you're of the moment, and you don't think about anything else. And he was at that place for a very long time, and it was interesting. Dustin Hopkins' quote, he was a natural. He didn't have any doubt about what he was doing out there. Whenever he went out there, he was sure. Yeah, and he was, so much so that the quote I got from him about I don't expect to ever miss another kick was at the height of that confidence. And so much about sports, and I say it all the time, and I've learned a lot of it from Trey Jones and other coaches. They just talk about, look, at the level you get to when you're at Florida State, whether that be as a football player, a golfer, tennis player, if you're an elite player recruited to Division I and you're the best at what you do, and at one time Roberto Aguayo was the best in the country at what he did. When you are that, the matter of being able to execute or having the requisite skill to do what you need to do in order to succeed is not in question. That's already been proven, or else you wouldn't be there. You wouldn't have been recruited. You wouldn't be a starter. You would have never had the opportunities that you've had. So that is already established. Now it is only about confidence. Now it is only about continuing to execute in pressure-packed situations. And what helps you execute in pressure-packed situations? Well, preparation, for starters. You have to put in the work. But the confidence that's born from that. And if you don't have confidence, you have nothing. It'd be like you or me kicking it. I mean, what's it matter anymore if you don't believe you can make it? All the talent in the world doesn't matter. That's why kickers go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs all the time. That's why there's an Ian Baker Finch in the broadcast booth, because he went from winning the British Open to I can't hit it straight. This is what happens.
I can tell you in high school I had highs and lows, and I wasn't a routine top 3 or top 4 player on my team. I was a role player. I was a big shot Bob Orry for my high school golf team, but if you felt like you had no chance, I mean, that's a lonely place to be. The only thing you can do is either go play a bunch of golf until your hands are killing you, or go to the range until your hands are killing you. But you got to go on this. It's like a spirit, a vision quest. You just got to go out in the wilderness and go find it. Once you find it, then it's back. The hard part here is millions of dollars, TV cameras,
expectations,
locker rooms hating you before you even suit up.
By
all that
yourself.
Stuff.
It's the loneliest place in the world.
But I thought he had a pretty good camp with the Chargers last year in the preseason.
Mm-hmm.
So there is at least a little bit of positive momentum for him. I know they didn't go with him, but the kid they went with was awesome. So it's not his fault that he got beat out by a better player. But I thought the storylines were largely positive for Berto heading into this past season.
I'm really rooting for him. I've never had anything personally against Roberto Aguayo. I hated that Jason Light made the pick there because there was no value in the spot that we took him. With all the other needs, I don't know, Russian, corner, you name whatever many needs. Offensive
He might have
line.
gone next, though. You never know.
Were all the needs that the Bucs had at the time, I thought, you're not getting the value there. And also, by drafting him there, you have increased the level of intense pressure he will feel from day one. And that turned out to be true, too. He admits that in the article. I think it's also interesting. And I wondered, and I've always wondered about this, where do you go for that inspiration? There are no shortage of examples, which is cool. He cites Max Homa, this year's the champion on the PGA Tour. Mm-hmm. Basically, had heard him talking afterwards, and you talk about the mental challenges and being out of swing. And Max said about his PGA Tour card, well, it had been taken away twice. I missed 15 of 17 cuts. That'll hurt your heart.
Yeah.
When I was around these guys in tournaments, I felt like I wasn't supposed to be there. I felt like my game was simply not good enough to be out there. I just felt like I was a kid amongst all of these men. Why am I even here? I just suck. That's Max Homa, quote unquote. And then
Berto's like, I get that.
I
get that.
Berto thought exactly. Yeah. He goes on to say, I didn't want to say it was the same thing, but yeah. Well, yeah, there you go.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong here, because I know on kickoffs he tried to do different things because we try to get the hang time right and work on field position, getting hidden yards that way. So I'm not going to count that. But I remember Roberto in his heyday as kind of a straight line A to B kicker. There wasn't a whole lot of English on the football.
Right. Well, he was getting frustrated that he couldn't get it to turn over. He talked about that. It always bothered him that he couldn't get it to turn over.
But he was the most exceptional A to B, no matter where you were on the hash marks in the country. Right. He had the miss against Wake Forest, and that was it. And then when he gets to the NFL, he's on the hash. The right hash, so he's forcing himself to hit a draw, essentially. That's what he looked like he was doing. And so he'd end up being late on it, and he'd have this tailing lazy draw that started 5 yards wide right, and it couldn't hook back in time.
Oh, it always pissed me off.
What drove me nuts is you're one of the best straight ball kickers I've ever seen.
Well, he ended up seeing, according to the article, several therapists, he was asking himself, you talk about the pressure cooker, he was beginning to ask himself questions like, look, should I fix this and then fix that? Or is it that and then this? Should I be getting 7 hours and 30 minutes of sleep or 8 hours and 30 minutes of sleep? Am I lifting too much weights? The wheels were turning at all times. He was obsessing with everything that led up to the moment.
He needed more Boo Weekly in his life is what he needed.
Yeah, he needed to stop thinking, but at the same time, that's really tough. It's a brutal existence. I do feel for him. I mean, one night, Courtney came home and found him sitting on their cream-colored couch next to maybe 3-4 empty bottles of beer, staring at the wall blankly. Numb. Quote, you don't know what that feels like unless you're going through it, unless you've been in it. And then his sadness began to seep into their home life, suffocating. I mean, this whole thing, can you imagine?
Well, when you said 3-4 bottles, I thought you were going to say like scotch or schnapps or something. I'm glad it was at least,
it was beer.
It was bottles of beer. I mean, just glad it was not schnapps.
I was just thinking to myself, like, so? What's the problem, Courtney? I've had 3 beers. Is this what we're doing around here these days? You're going to bitch at me about my 3 beers. I'm a kicker. Yeah, no, that's tough. Yeah, he's had... Read the article. He said there was plenty of guys that did encourage him, guys on the Bucs, other kickers around the league that would reach out to him and say, hey, we've all been through it. You'll find it. That's got to be encouraging. But
you'll be 28, and you'll have gone through some stuff, but you'll have found it.
Yeah.
You'll just love that guaranteed money you got from the Bucs for signing so high.
You're really lucky because you may never make it back in the league. I got you.
Where's the article on Sean Powell, the best punter I've ever seen in my life? The hell happened to him?
He didn't make it.
Damn it.
Punting and kicking in general, man.
I've been waiting for him to surface in Tampa Bay's camp for years. And it's just, he's the 5th guy, and he's in the 4th quarter against the Dolphins, and it's like a 65-yard punt. Is it Sean? By Sean Powell. Because if he ever comes back, he'll be like Gilberto. He'll be one of the best punters in the world.
He certainly had a fantastic season. I mean, just an incredible.
He was incredible.
Yeah, so much so that poor bastard from the University of Florida that you remember fondly for the rest of your life. What the? Damn
it! I can't repeat exactly what he said, but it was just he wouldn't react immediately. Like he had to.
He was
wait.
trying to look at the trajectory.
He's measuring.
Yeah.
Well, that's gonna be. Damn it!
That's gonna be another 75.
Again with this bleeping guy.
I hope Roberto Aguayo makes it. Good luck to you, young man. You're still so young. There's got to be more to your career than this. Maybe not. Maybe not. You're right. Enjoy the guaranteed money.
He could catch on in the XFL, and I'm being serious. Catch on in the XFL and
with kickers,
work his way back.
Bottom line is this. With kickers, and my brother was a really good kicker. I bring it up every time we talk about kickers. But the truth is, and there was another guy, Anderson was his last name. Can't remember his first all of a sudden. They kicked in the NFL for years, but also kicked at Lakewood High School years before my brother was there, who would come home and practice. We'd see him in St. Pete all the time practicing. He made it to the league. He kicked at Vanderbilt. He was a very good player. Anyhow, those guys, they don't stop kicking. They're always kicking. They have a bad year, they're out kicking. And the truth is, it takes one little spark to figure it back out. How many times have we seen great kickers get cut and go from team to team to team and end up somewhere else and then find it again? The Bears cut Robbie Gould. What were they doing?
Right, yeah.
I mean, it happens all the time. And look, some guys never get back. Vanderjack never made it back. But some guys find it again, and they go kick in the Arena League.
Right. Why didn't Morton or Gary Anderson only kick for one team in their career?
Right. I mean, it's...
With all their numbers.
With all their numbers, right. Well, my favorite kicker that we just decided, hey, you're growing injuries too much, you're done. But,
That was, who was that? That was Raheem, I think.
Well, but also, who made the decision?
Mm-hmm. I think.
Yeah. Didn't make very many good decisions. But think about the skinny-ass push you have to kick in the Arena League. Some of these guys will go and find it in the Arena League, and if you're making kicks there...
It was his life, and obviously, and he could do whatever he wanted, but my buddy had the gift, man, and he would train with its Storms kicker over in the Ice Palace. And he could kick it from 52, 55, you name it. He had a thunderous leg from soccer. And he went to go play at JU instead. And I love him to death still. I tell him this to his face. But he decided to go play because he wanted to be a position player. And he didn't want to be a kicker. He didn't want the stigma.
Yeah, he didn't want the stigma, yeah.
But you know what? He could have had the stigma and made hundreds to thousands or millions of dollars doing it.
Yeah.
He had the gift for it.
Nothing wrong with being a long snapper. Nothing wrong with being a great punter, man.
Garrison Sanborn, that's one of the first interviews I remember on this program.
Yeah. And I've talked to his mother, and I've had him on the show, and yeah, absolutely.
That was before I started as an intern, but I remember that interview. I was like, oh, that guy seems like an awesome dude.
Yeah, he thought it was funny that he got paid really good money to snap a football. It was absurd. He's like, yeah, I've always been pretty good at it. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Got a lot of goodness coming up for you here today, obviously. Front Row Knowles is up next right after that. Oh, wow. Check that. I've got it reversed, don't I? Silly man. You have Seminole Headlines next, not Front Row Knowles. But Front Row Knowles follows right after Seminole Headlines. So that's what we got. Me and the boys got together today and had a weighty conversation. The financial situation at Florida State, the athletics department in general, the new AD, obviously the end of baseball season, the coaching search, all of that is on the plate today.
For a May edition of Seminole Headlines, this is one of the more FSU-laden shows ever in the history of Seminole Headlines.
Gotta get while the getting's good. Some things are wrapping up here. If the baseball team goes 0-2 this week, you may get into favorite movies. I don't know. We'll get into plenty, I'm sure, as is usually the case. We find something to occupy the time. But, yes, we get off the tracks from time to time in the dead of the summer.
Are they both going up to Athens, or is it just Corey?
Just Corey. He's excited to be going back to his old stomping grounds and having a good time in Athens, and has invited all of you who are making the trek to Athens to find him at the local watering holes on Friday and maybe on Saturday.
And get him some beers.
Yeah, it won't cost you much. It won't set you back. It's just Mick Ultra run you about $1, I think.
In those college bars, too. I feel like 25 cents.
Yeah, here you go.
Please get rid of it.
So there's that. I told him I was holding out. I'm waiting for Baton Rouge. I'm waiting to head up to Louisiana to do it up after we easily cruise through the sub-regional here, which, wouldn't be shocking.
Still holding to that. Okay.
The cruising through, I don't know. That's a bit bold. Even saying they're going to win it is a bit bold. But would I be surprised? Nah, it's baseball, man. Just got to get to the dance. Got to give yourself a chance to upset some people. They happen all the time, but you got to get there. We're there. We made it. We've arrived. Very low expectations, minimal expectations. Nobody expects them to win 2 games. Nobody expects them to win 3 games. Nobody expects them to get this done.
If Droopy gives us 6-7 strong on Friday,
when did you start calling Drew Parrish?
That's what they call him over there.
Oh, okay.
Drew Parrish. They got a big Droopy cartoon with Drew Parrish's head on it.
Section B.
So if Droopy gives us 6 or 7 strong in the heat of the day on Friday, you feel pretty good about that. Saves the bullpen.
Come on, Droopy.
And then you give the pill to CJ.
Yeah, there you go. He's been rolling lately.
Yes, he has.
Yeah, he's been rolling lately. So you get those 2 going, and we cruise through the regional. As I said, just cruise on through.
Then you got to survive. After even if you start 2-0, it's like okay. Can we survive?
We have enough
here?
To piece together here?
We have like 8 more runs in us at some point.
At some point, yeah, that's funny. Let's do probables before we turn it over to Seminole Headlines.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
Angels Athletics, Griffin Canning, who must have been annoying in high school, no doubt. It's from New Hampshire. Daniel Mengden's going for the Athletics.
Ooh.
What?
These are like 2 guys I played with on the AJGA circuit.
Yeah. Rangers Mariners, we've got Jose Leclerc and Wade LeBlanc. Wade LeBlanc has not been very good. I didn't know he was in the league. Indians Red Sox, Shane Bieber and Ryan Weber. We've got the Cardinals and the Phillies. What do you think, Director Matthew? Aaron Nola going to carry the day for the Phils today? Yeah? Good. I like it. He should. He's right-handed, and the Cardinals are way too right-handed as a lineup. He should mow through their ass. Somebody by the name of Genesis Cabrera is pitching tonight for the Cardinals.
Hot mic. Let you know, folks, sometimes I laugh a lot behind the scenes.
He's making his debut for the Cardinals.
Jeff hates laugh tracks, so I don't do the Stugotz thing where I laugh hard and everything so that Dan feels better about himself.
Tigers, Orioles, Ryan Carpenter, John Means, Giants, Marlins. Nobody should be forced to watch that. Madison Bumgarner will go for the Giants, El Gigante, and Pablo Lopez going for the Marlins. We've got the Jays and the Rays. Trent Thornton, Blake Snell. All right. Nats, Braves. You'll hear that right here on these airwaves. SunTrust Park. Anibal Sanchez going for the Nationals. Kevin Gausman going for the Braves.
So I just spent the last few minutes looking up Ryan Weber for the Red Sox. Good young arm. It was, in fact, the kid went to my high school.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah,
there you
for
go.
Ryan Weber.
Did you tweet him the meme that you always tweet your golf team or football team?
I could.
Royals, White Sox, Clint Sparkman.
I'll start tweeting that to the Red Sox themselves. Be like, all right, Ryan Weber, 7 innings, 1 run.
They're going to be like, what is this?
Walter White.
Yeah.
You're gosh darn right.
Ronaldo Lopez goes for the White Sox. Cubs, Astros, great matchup there. I think that's the ESPN game. Kyle Hendricks goes for the Cubs. Wade Miley goes for the Astros. D-backs, Rockies. Robbie Ray and Jeff Hoffman going for the Rockies. Mets, Dodgers. You're still having to play the Dodgers? Sweet Jesus.
We got 2 more with them. Oh. Hey, we won last night, though.
Did you really? I didn't see.
If we split with them, I'm doing backflips.
You would be. That's a hell of a thing. It's Noah Syndergaard going tonight for the Mets.
Don't like our chances.
Walker Buehler.
Trapper keeper.
Goes for the Dodgers, and that's a look at those that shall reside on the bump. Coming up next, Seminole Headlines. Stay tuned. It's good. Be well. Good job, Matt. I called you Matt. That's a miracle.
Championship.
That's funny. I haven't called you Matt since the first year you were doing it.
I just morphed into him for a moment.
Weird triggers in the brain.
Well, it's because the NBA draft is coming up.
I also was going to say Matthew, and I just cut it because I went to say Tom first, as I always do.
What's Noah Syndergaard's ERA there? Did you close the window?
3-4, 4.93.
Okay.
Well, we need to look at what it is, independent.
When I rip him, he usually plays well, but he sucks right now. That's true.
Good job, Tom. Tom Lang, producer extraordinaire. Good job, Director Matthew.
Christian Jones is Matthew Thomas.
Bye, everybody.